Imagine a stately townhouse on an elegant London street. Now imagine it's packed with 30 rooms off limits to you. Include staircases you can only climb in secret, bells that chime endlessly with orders you can't ignore, and a strict pecking order where chatting with the incorrect person might lead to instant dismissal minus any reference. Such was the reality of domestic service in Victorian London during 1888. Yet service held its own brutal truths. You might scour floors till your hands were raw by dawn, then stand rigidly alert to wait at table by nightfall. You could bed down in quarters so frigid your breath iced the sheets, rousing at 4:30 a.m. to kindle fires for folks who wouldn't recall your name to save their souls. It was a world where you faded into nothingness, unless you erred, at which point you blazed into painful notice. Tonight, we're plunging right into that era. No mere sightseeing through grand Victorian facades or tales of lavish dances and refined circles. We're embodying it fully, through one single day, via one young woman's eyes. All she encountered, scented, overheard, dreaded, and endured. Your eyes flutter open into pitch blackness, utter blackness, lasting perhaps a mere half-second or even shorter. For that instant, you've lost your bearings. Then it rushes in. The chill. Not merely chilly, but a bone-piercing frost. It's November in London, and no blaze warms the servants' quarters yet. That task falls to you. It's the reason you stir before daylight. Next comes the odor, not a solitary scent, but a barrage of them. The chamber pot lurking in the corner, begging to be emptied. Its tang sharp, biting, inescapable. Beside you, Mary from Dorset hasn't truly bathed in over a week. Fetching water demands toil, and warming it demands coal, which costs coin earmarked for the house, not for your sort. Your uniform's wool, sodden and mildewed, dangles from the hook near the door, perpetually moist in this weather. A subtle whiff of stale dust clings to every surface. Your garments, your locks, your flesh, plus the faint rot from a mouse that perished in the walls 3 days back, breaking down in some inaccessible spot. Beneath it all lingers your personal musk, your perspiration, your filth. Your frame struggling onward with scant meals and scant rest. Greetings to November 7th, 1888, a Thursday morning, precisely 4:20 a.m. Though no timepiece gleams in this gloom, you rest on a slender iron cot in a cramped space measuring scarcely 8 feet by 6 feet, shared with Mary. The mattress is sparse, filled with horsehair atop a rigid metal base. Your pillow. A bundled petticoat, since the household skips providing them for scullery maids like you. The coverlet is woolen, itchy, and woefully thin. You are Sarah Miller, aged 15, a London newcomer of 7 months. You journeyed south from a hamlet beyond York, armed with just 2 frocks, 1 set of boots, and a recommendation note from the vicar's spouse to a far-off kin who connected you through acquaintances to this post. Folks back home buzzed that London would forge your wealth. They got it halfway right. No riches accrued, but at least it staved off famine, better than lingering in Yorkshire, where the mill shuttered and half the village scattered to urban hubs or poorhouses. The bell remained silent so far. You recognize this since the house's bell wires threading the walls blare like thunder when activated, enough to rouse the departed. Mrs. Pembroke, the housekeeper, triggers it bang on 4:30. You've trained yourself to rise 5 minutes early, to rinse your face and appear tidy before it shrills across the servants' hall. You pivot your legs from the bed. The floor bites with cold. Plain planks, uncarpeted, the chill climbing through your soles as if you're on a frozen pond. Your stockings wait as you place them, slung over the bed's frame. Still clammy, you tug them up regardless. Mary shifts in her sleep nearby. At 13, she's your junior by 2 years and has endured this place a mere 3 months. Occasionally she weeps quietly in the dark, assuming you're out cold. You feign ignorance. No solace you could give would alter her plight. Your quarters boast no window. Nestled in the house's basement, essentially buried, daylight never filters here. Light arrives solely via the candle end allotted to you, one weekly, and you've burned through half already. You strike a match from the tin on the modest ledge, igniting it. The wick sparks, wavers, holds. Shadows leap and sway as the chamber materializes from the void. There hangs your uniform from last night, a sturdy black cotton gown built for endurance over ease. The white apron bears stubborn stains. No matter your scrubbing zeal, floors leave their mark. The cap goes on next, hiding your brown hair that's overdue for a proper wash after a fortnight. You pull on your clothes in the chill air, fumbling with the fastenings as your hands stiffen from the cold. Mary stirs beside you, her gaze fixed on you with the weariness of someone far beyond her 13 years. No words pass between you. What's there to discuss at this ungodly hour of 4:25 a.m.? Upstairs, the residence remains hushed, the Ashworth family dormant for hours yet. Mr. Ashworth handles merchant banking, dealing in Indian imports and railway ventures. Mrs. Ashworth, born to a baronet, wed a touch below her rank, yet compensated with valuable social ties. Their offspring, number 3, James, the oldest, away at university, Catherine, 17, gearing up for her debut season, and young William, 8, the sole family member who's ever met your eyes and uttered a genuine thank you. That's the realm above, though. Lush rugs, fine artworks, chambers heated by the very fires you tend. Below, it's an entirely separate domain, a maze of corridors and chambers that keep the grand edifice running smoothly. Think the kitchen, scullery, servants' hall, housekeeper's quarters, butler's pantry, wine cellar, coal storage, supply closets, and the staff sleeping areas. It's a hidden underbelly to the opulent home, staffed by those who ensure the upstairs dwellers never ponder the origins of their steaming baths, the disposal of their waste, or the crafting of their elaborate multi-course meals. This establishment employs 12 in service, a modest count for such a spacious Belgravia townhouse. The Ashworths possess the means for a larger retinue, but Mr. Ashworth favors progressive methods and streamlined operations. Mrs. Pembroke oversees as housekeeper. At 50, she's toiled in service since age 12, rising from scullery drudge to commanding role. She's even-handed yet formidable, her decrees absolute below stairs. Then there's Mr. Davies, the butler, loyal to the family for 2 decades. He grasps all confidences, whims, and tacit protocols, gliding through the premises unseen and watchful. Mrs. Bradley, the cook, dominates the kitchen domain unchallenged. She hails from Cornwall, sturdy as an oak cask, and whips up feasts for 20 guests effortlessly. Rose serves as lady's maid, 22, and viewing herself as elevated above the others, which she rightly is. She attires Mrs. Ashworth, styles her tresses, and stays abreast of elite scandals. James, the 19-year-old footman, possesses striking looks he exploits, though strict bans prevent dalliances with the women's staff, and he flouts it anyway. Thomas, hallboy at 16, manages footwear, messages, and any odd jobs. Martha, 18, parlor maid, keeps to herself after 2 years on staff. Agnes, housemaid of 20, is betrothed to a clergyman and scrimping for their nuptials. Emily, 17, the between maid, pitches in wherever required. Mary, your 13-year-old under-housemaid roommate, pines for home. And you, Sarah Miller, the scullery maid, bottom rung of the ladder, handle igniting every hearth before dawn, clearing chamber pots, scouring floors, laundering endless stacks of plates thrice daily, polishing cookware, tending the range, lugging coal, fetching water, shifting loads of all sorts, while remaining unseen, mute, and gainfully occupied. The bell tolls sharp at 4:30, slicing the basement quiet like a blade. Mary startles, but you're in motion, seizing the coal bucket and kindling crate, bound for the staircase. Mrs. Pembroke stands ready in the servants' hall as you hurry by, impeccably attired in her spotless black gown, tresses neatly coiled. She meets your eye with a curt nod. Punctuality noted, a relief. Tardiness risks a stern reprimand or slashed pay at minimum. Start with the drawing room blaze, she instructs, followed by the morning room, dining room. Ensure Mr. Ashworth's study glows by 6. And the library today. Miss Catherine plans her piano session there. Understood, Mrs. Pembroke. Your words rasp unused, hoarse from silence since last night. You ascend via the rear steps. As always, the servants' passage twists narrowly, pitches steeply, and lacks light. Darkness holds no terror for you now. Coal load balanced in one grip, kindling in the other. Your feet find the path by memory alone. The townhouse slumbers in shadow, broken only by your soft tread and the faint clink of shifting fuel. You reach the ground level through the rear corridor to the main areas. Caution reigns here, access permitted solely for duties, absent the family's presence, and confined to essentials. You glide unseen, swift, soundless, purposeful. The drawing room comes first. You turn the key. Staff hold duplicates for all doors, and enter. Vast at perhaps 30 feet in length, the space brims with sheet-draped furnishings from the night. Thick drapes seal out the faintest morning light. The grate stands empty, layered with the remnants of last night's blaze. You drop to your knees on the plush hearth mat, luxurious Persian weave, its value easily surpassing 5 years of your hard-earned pay. First, the ashes must go. With the little shovel, you carefully transfer them to the bucket, minimizing any stir of particles. Dust only spells extra labor down the line, a telltale sign of your presence that defeats the whole purpose of blending into the shadows. Once cleared, you arrange the kindling, slender twigs in a precise formation you've mastered for the fastest ignition, tucking crumpled paper spills beneath. Coal follows, stacked methodically to ensure a steady, fierce burn. A single match flares. The paper ignites, followed by the kindling snap and pop. You linger just long enough to confirm it's taking hold before layering on more fuel. An early sputter would force a restart, derailing your schedule and inviting Mrs. Pembroke's sharp rebuke. Soon the flames take root, the coal shimmering with warmth that begins to chase away the room's chill. Without pause, you proceed to the morning room, rinse and repeat, ashes out, kindling set, fire sparked and monitored until secure. The dining room's hearth demands more effort, its scale bigger and coal requirements heftier. Breakfast awaits the family at 8 sharp, so the space must radiate comfort by then. Your fingers bear the grime of soot already, and the unyielding floors have left your joints protesting from the repeated crouching. Just the third hearth tended, yet 7 remain ahead. Next comes the study. Mr. Ashworth's sanctum, walls sheathed in towering bookshelves, his broad desk buried under documents and accounts, the air thick with lingering pipe smoke woven into the upholstery. Speed is essential here. He occasionally descends ahead of schedule, and even dutiful chores in his territory provoke his foul mood. Fire prepared and kindling a light, you ease away and seal the door without a sound. The library follows, Miss Catherine's retreat for the day. Secretly, it's the one space that draws you, though confessing that would be folly. Volumes cram every corner, thousands strong, far outnumbering anything in your rural hometown. Literacy eludes you for most. Your schooling spanned just 3 village years, enough for rudimentary reading and arithmetic, but the sight alone enchants. Supple leather covers, gilded titles, the imposing bulk of wisdom arrayed before you. You kindle the blaze and pile on additional coal, knowing Miss Catherine shivers easily and nags her mother if the room lacks sufficient toasty air. Halfway through now, 5 hearths complete, 5 pending. Outside, the gloom softens imperceptibly. Heavy drapes hide the view in nearly every chamber, but the air carries that faint pivot toward daybreak. True sunrise lingers an hour away. Downstairs again, the breakfast room, compact for casual repasts. The seldom visited back parlor, ever primed. The conservatory, its glassy enclosure bitterly frosty, requiring dual fires to thaw adequately. As the final one roars to life, the clock nears 6. Your spine throbs, palms caked in filth, apron, nay, even your gown smeared with icy residues. Yet the morning's duties press on. Descending to the basement kitchen reveals a hive of motion. Cook roused at 4, orchestrating the family's and staff's morning meal. Ranges roar, flooding the space with sweltering air and the yeasty aroma of loaves in the oven. "About time," she mutters, eyes fixed downward, arms plunged into dough she pummels with expert force. Sculleries a wreck from supper, have it gleaming before we serve. That annex off the kitchen looms with its cavernous stone basin and scarred wooden rack. Ground zero for all the scrubbing. Every dish, tumbler, vessel, utensil from upstairs and below piles up there. Post-dinner chaos reigns. The Ashworths hosted 8, yielding course upon course and avalanches of porcelain, flatware, platters. You prime the sink via the pump, frigid water only, since stoking the boiler for hot would devour fuel, and time cook refuses to yield for mere cleanup. Soap and sheer effort will suffice. The abrasive lye formula meant to scour fats, heedless of tender flesh. Weeks of this have already roughened your hands. By season's close, fissures and blood will mark them. But such is the trade. Glasses first, fine crystal, fragile heirlooms, each commanding a month's salary. You cleanse them with caution, swish in the auxiliary basin, pat dry on a threadbare but spotless rag. China succeeds. Fragile saucers rimmed in delicate floral artwork, translucent to the light. Scores of them, serving for soup, sides, main, sweets, each scrubbed, flushed, buffed, and piled neatly. The cutlery drags on endlessly. Forks, knives, spoons, and all the serving utensils, every piece sterling silver, must be washed, dried, and eventually polished. The polishing can wait, though. Right now, cleanliness is the goal. Next come the serving pieces, oversized platters, gravy boats, vegetable bowls, that massive soup tureen, all cumbersome and awkward, smeared with hardened leftovers from the night before. Then the pots and pans truly test your endurance, roasting trays encrusted with charred grease, saucepans with stubborn bits of cream sauce clinging to their bases. The stock pot simmered for ages, its interior walls slick with a stubborn layer that demands vigorous scouring. For the toughest spots, you reach for sand, rough grains blended with soap, and attack them with a stiff brush until your muscles scream in protest. The sink water shifts from gray to inky black. You dump it out, refresh the basin, and press on. Mary materializes at your side without a word, grabbing a cloth to dry as you keep washing. That's the rhythm here. Seamless teamwork forged from sheer routine. Quote 3, she murmurs. Down in these depths, you miss most outside news. It trickles in haltingly, if ever. Quote 4. Mary goes on, her words faint against the splash of water. Quote 5. Your hands remain submerged. You grasp what she means. All of London does, even staff who seldom venture beyond these walls. The killings, Whitechapel, the brutal deaths of women the papers shy from detailing fully, women turning to the streets out of desperation. Quote 6. Mary breathes. Quote 7. Quote 8. You snap, sharper than meant. Mere gossip. Yet the dread lingers. It has since the spree began in August. A shadow creeping through the East End's lanes, especially Whitechapel, where women dread the night and lawmen appear powerless against this beast. Belgravia shields you, distant from the East End's squalid alleys and grinding want. But the city feels small, and terror ignores boundaries. You complete the washing wordlessly. It's after 7 when you finally wrap up. Your hands are raw. Your arms throb, and hunger gnaws. You've had nothing yet. Servant's breakfast falls at 7:30 in the hall below. Just 20 minutes to settle, eat, and brace for what follows. The fare stays basic. Oatmeal, loaves, tea, bacon scraps if the family's meal yields extras, eggs now and then, if the cook's in a giving mood. Today, only oatmeal and bread. You claim a spot at the lengthy oak table amid the staff. Even here, rank rules. Mrs. Pembroke presides at the top. Mr. Davies anchors the bottom. Senior hands like Rose and Footman James hold the center. Juniors, you, Mary, Thomas, huddle at the tail. Talk stays subdued. Mrs. Pembroke frowns on idle talk during eats. You consume it fast, by rote, stoking energy for the grind. Sarah, Mrs. Pembroke intones. Your name from her always signals duty, directive, or rebuke. Yes, Mrs. Pembroke. Post-meal, assist Agnes with the upper hall rugs. They require a thorough thrashing. Then tackle the entry steps. The master spotted a mark yesterday. It irked him. Yes, Mrs. Pembroke. Beating rugs involves dragging them out, slinging them across the rear yard's line, and pounding away with the beater till dust no longer billows. Draining labor. Scrubbing the stoop exposes you to passers-by on the road, a visibility you loathe. But orders aren't options. They're mandates. You polish off the oatmeal. The tea's thin but scalding. You gulp it down, savoring the heat blooming in your core before plunging back into tasks. Agnes awaits at the servant's stairhead. She's unrolled the initial rug, a lengthy hall runner, and has it bundled for transport. Grab that side, she instructs. The woolen thing weighs a ton, dense and at least 12 feet. You and Agnes wrestle it down the back stairs, across the basement, through the rear exit to the yard. The space is compact, hemmed by tall brick barriers. Servants' territory, laundry lines, rug-whipping ground, coal drop-off zone. Family folks steer clear. This marks your nearest brush with fresh air today. The chill bites laced with moisture. London's November brings endless mist. It drapes every surface, turns breathing labored amid the soot. Coal fumes permeate from countless city stacks, fueling a perpetual yellowish murk that refuses to dissipate. You sling the rug over the line. Agnes passes the beater, a long-handled weave of willow. Hit it hard, she advises. Mrs. Pembroke demands perfection. You swing the tool high and slam it into the fabric. Dust billows up in a thick plume. You swing the beater once more, then again, relentlessly. The grime refuses to relent. It's the buildup from countless footsteps and the city's smog embedding deep into the weave over months. Your muscles begin to throb just minutes in. By the 10th, they feel like fire, yet you press on. There's simply no choice. Slowly, the haze thins out. The rug starts showing signs of cleanliness. Nearby, Agnes tackles her own carpet. You both sync up in a steady pattern. Swing, strike, puff of powder. swing, strike, puff of powder, repeating endlessly. Quote 16. Agnes calls out, and there it goes, the gossip. Quote 17. Agnes halts her swings, dabs at her brow. Quote 18. Quote 19. Quote 20. You slam the beater with extra force. Quote 21. Quote 22. The idea weighs like lead in your ribs. She's got a point, sort of. In this place, you're essential yet unseen. Should you vanish, they'd just fetch a new kitchen drudge in days. Your kin up in Yorkshire would mourn, but beyond them, the Bobbies are no help. Agnes goes on, 5 dead, and still no collar on him. My Jack reckons it's because they're only tarts, so the law drags its feet. But I'm not sure. Feels like they're putting in the effort. They just can't nab him. He's too sharp, slips away like a shadow. You're picturing Jack. Agnes is intended, the clerk down at the shipping firm. They're stashing every penny for a wedding, a modest flat, a fresh start. It'll drag on for years with their pay packets, but youth and optimism keep them at it. You wrap up the initial rug and shift to the second, then the third. All 3 demand that punishing toil. When it's over, your limbs are limp as rags, your spine throbs, and a thin film of grit clings to your skin. Agnes declares. You drag them via the cellar, ascend the back stairs, and position them neatly along the upper corridor. The toil must vanish from sight. The household treads these paths without a nod to the sweat behind their spotlessness. It's pushing 10 o'clock now. You've been up near 6 hours already. Stoke the hearths, scour the plates, pummel the rugs, and the day's barely begun. Front stairs await. You recall they're a headache. That pristine white Portland stone, so refined and costly, betrays every smudge. Last night's downpour streaked mud from the road. Mr. Ashworth spotted it. Mr. Ashworth griped, quote, 27, you collect your tools. A pail of steaming water. Mrs. Bradley let you draw from the boiler with ill grace. A coarse-bristled scrubber, a rag, and a lump of soap. The facade of the home feels like another realm. Belgravia stands as one of the capital's poshest enclaves, rows of gleaming stucco mansions, uniform and lavish. The avenue boasts mature trees, cleared daily by sweepers, black wrought iron fences, gleaming brass knockers, staff ensuring flawless upkeep. You're barred from the main entrance at all times. You circle to the tradesman's gate, emerge onto the sidewalk, and tackle the steps head-on. Scrubbing out front means exposure. Passers-by can spot you plainly. And to certain folks, glimpsing a worker in action is crass. A stark cue to the drudgery propping up such grandeur. Still, it demands doing, so you drop to your knees on the chill slab and set to work. The heat bites at your raw palms. You push past the sting, concentrating on the brush's sweeps, the whirls that pry loose the filth. Suds from the soap aid the effort. The muck loosens, graying the liquid in your pail. Quote 28. You glance upward. A lady lingers on the walkway, peering at you. She's neatly attired, solidly bourgeois, likely calling on a nearby residence. Yes, ma'am? Do you serve in this house? Yes, ma'am. Scullery maid, that's me. She studies you at length. Her face gives nothing away. Compassion, revulsion, intrigue. How old might you be, child? 15, ma'am. 15. She sighs, shaking her head. Already in service. And from where? Yorkshire, ma'am. I caught that northern lilt in your speech. Do you care for London? Such an odd inquiry. No one's posed it to you before. Does it even matter if you like London or not? As though your opinion counts for anything. Or as if you could choose otherwise. It's nothing like back home, ma'am. I can well believe that. Her gaze shifts to the house for a moment, then returns to you. How do they treat you here? The household? Fine, ma'am. Quite fine. That's the proper reply, the safe one. This stranger isn't someone you know. For all you can tell, she might be an acquaintance of Mrs. Ashworth's. A single misplaced word could reach your employer's ears. Keep at it diligently, my girl. Mind yourself. These are risky days for a young lass in the city. She turns and departs, abandoning you there on the steps, brush clutched in your grip, pondering the odd exchange. You resume your work, scouring vigorously. The stone shines brilliantly under the faint November sun. You collect your tools and sneak back through the servant's door, vanishing from view. The clock has ticked beyond 11. Mrs. Pembroke is bound to have fresh chores lined up. There's never a shortage of duties. Yet first, you must deal with the chamber pots from the upstairs bedrooms. Among your everyday burdens, this ranks as the most loathsome, though it can't be avoided. You ascend the narrow rear staircase to the sleeping quarters. The family has all left the house. Mrs. Ashworth and Miss Catherine are out making social visits. Mr. Ashworth is occupied at his place of business. Young William is occupied with lessons from his tutor. No one's around. The residence spans 4 stories above the ground, plus the basement where you and the others rest. The bedrooms occupy the 2nd level. You seldom set foot here except when ordered to. This area belongs strictly to the family. The corridor boasts plush carpeting, the very pieces you freshened earlier, along with framed artworks on the walls, delicate side tables holding floral arrangements, all immaculate, refined, and costly. You begin in Miss Catherine's quarters. Positioned at the front, it faces the road. The space dwarfs the cramped basement chamber you share with Mary. It features a 4-poster bed draped in fabrics, a spacious armoire, a vanity for grooming, a chaise lounge near the pane, and the hearth you kindled at dawn. Beneath the bed sits the chamber pot, fine porcelain adorned with floral motifs. You extract it with caution. It's brimming. Holding it far from your body to avoid spills, you descend the back stairs to the lower level, then head outside to the outhouse in the rear yard. The outhouse is a modest wooden shed hugging the boundary fence. Within, a simple bench covers a deep trench, serviced by the night soil collectors every 7 days. The odor defies words. You pinch your nose shut, tip out the contents, force your mind elsewhere. Up the stairs once more. Now the master bedroom for Mr. and Mrs. Ashworth, even grander than their daughters, dripping with luxury. Its pot is bigger as well. You dispose of it. Back again, William's chamber, the tiniest among the family's sleeping rooms, yet still vast compared to typical sitting areas in laborers' dwellings. His pot weighs less. You manage it swiftly. Finally, the spare room. Vacant for the moment, but kept pristine for any arrivals. The pot lies clean, though you inspect it anyway. That's 4 journeys ascending and descending, 4 outings to the outhouse. Once done, you scour your hands fiercely, banishing the lingering sense of filth, despite never having made contact. Still, with the household empty and you're already upstairs, you steal a brief instant. Only a fleeting one. You ease into Miss Catherine's space, approach the glass, nudge the drapery aside just a touch, and behold it all. The street unfolds below, posh and serene, with leafless branches in the November chill, uniform facades aligned in neat lines. Farther off, a hint of the Thames peeks through, a narrow band of muted river amid the structures, and right beside it, the Tower Bridge taking shape, its framework climbing skyward. Construction began 5 years back, in 1886. From rare peaks through panes, you've tracked its progress. Twin colossal spires in Gothic design, linked by elevated paths and drawbridges designed to rise for passing vessels. Completion remains distant, not due for 6 more years according to the chatter in the servants' quarters. Even so, it commands attention, already etching itself into the skyline. You linger perhaps half a minute, no more than that, gazing at the urban expanse you inhabit, yet scarcely glimpse such a vantage from this second-story perch in a Belgravia residence. It's the loftiest perspective you'll ever claim. Your quarters below lack any outlook. The cooking and washing areas overlook the yard. Your days unfold in dim cellars, hidden passages, and hidden corners invisible to the family. But here, through Miss Catherine's glass, the Thames comes into view. The gantries and frames of the bridge works are visible. The metropolis sprawls outward boundlessly, brimming with existences forever beyond your reach. What on earth are you up to? You whirl about. Your pulse plummets. Rose, the lady's maid, fills the threshold, her arms folded, her face etched with stern judgment. I was just emptying the chamber pot. Gaping out the window as if the room were yours won't get that done. No, Miss Rose. Apologies, Miss Rose. She's merely a few years your senior, at 22. Yet in the rigid order of the staff, she towers over you. She attends the lady of the house personally. She holds a position of prestige, earns admiration, sleeps in finer quarters, and draws a higher salary. Yet she resents scullery girls like you encroaching on her domain. Rose informs you icily. You hurry along the rear staircase to the lower level, seeking out Mrs. Pembroke and the chores she has lined up. There she stands in the servants' hall, clipboard in hand. Naturally, a list exists. Sarah polished the silverware. The household's hosting a dinner party tomorrow evening. 12 guests. Every item must sparkle. The whole collection. This will take the rest of the day, at least. Yes, Mrs. Pembroke. You gather the polishing compound, a sharp-scented pink cream, along with rags and the chest holding all the utensils. You haul it to the scullery, where there's room to spread out. The Ashworth silver collection is vast. Knives, forks, spoons in 3 different lengths apiece. Plus serving utensils, forks and spoons for mains, ladles for sauces and soup, fish slices, cake lifters, butter spreaders, sugar nippers, all pure sterling, all demanding a thorough shine. You begin with a single fork, rubbing on the paste, waiting for it to form a dull film, then wiping vigorously until it gleams. The grime flakes off, revealing the lustrous metal beneath. 1 fork complete. Roughly 87 more to tackle. The task is repetitive, mechanical. Your fingers work on instinct as your thoughts drift. Memories of home surface. Yorkshire seems a distant dream now. The rural hamlet of your childhood, with its rugged stone houses and pastures flecked with grazing sheep. Your mother, eroded by endless pregnancies and hardship. Your father, toiling at the mill as a worker until it shut down. Your 3 younger brothers and sisters, still back there, all relying on meals scraped together. You forward nearly all your earnings home. Your annual wage is £14, about £1 monthly, and you remit 10 shillings each time. That leaves you a mere 2 shillings for personal needs, laundry soap, mending torn hose, postage for family notes. It's slim pickings, but better than scraping by in the countryside, superior to what most girls your age manage. You count your blessings, truly. Blessed with this job, blessed with meals, a roof, steady work. That's your mantra during the toughest shifts. The ones where lye soap cracks your skin, your spine throbs from endless floor washing, exhaustion threatens tears, but tears signal frailty, and frailty spells the sack. You're fortunate. Hold on to that. Fortunate. You wrap up the forks and shift to the knives. Their edges demand precision, no nicks, no lingering grit. In the adjacent kitchen, cook readies the midday meal. Aromas of stew and warm loaves waft through the air below. Your belly rumbles. Staff dine at 1 o'clock. It's barely midday. Mary steps into view at the threshold. Underscore. Quote underscore 42 underscore. Your grip tightens on the knife midway through. Serve upstairs? You've never done that. It's work for parlor maids or housemaids, not someone like you in the scullery. Quote 43, quote 44, 20 minutes. A glance at your attire. Frock marred by soot and compound. Fingers grimy. Strands of hair, no doubt straggling from your cap. You leave the silver behind, dash to the sink, scour your skin and features with icy water and abrasive suds. Sprint to your quarters, swap into your cleanest gown, fasten the spare apron Mrs. Pembroke keeps for such duties. Tuck your tresses firmly beneath the linen. You've never ventured to the upper floors with the family in residence, never exposed yourself to their sight during your labors. The idea fills you with dread. Mrs. Pembroke eyes you appraisingly. That'll suffice. Mind you, no words unless addressed. Eyes down. Present dishes from the left. Remove from the right. Tread softly. Spill a thing. And you're out. Clear? Yes, Mrs. Pembroke. She passes you a salver bearing the soup tureen. Keep it steady. You bear the porcelain up the servant's passage. Every footfall deliberate, controlled. The broth sways faintly within. Steady now. Steady. Steady. The dining chamber glows with heat from the hearth you kindled earlier. The board is laid for 3. Mrs. Ashworth, Miss Catherine, and little William. Mr. Ashworth eats at his club in town. Mrs. Pembroke oversees from within, while James the footman waits at the buffet to pour libations. You're the humblest presence here. Pressed into service solely due to Martha's real sickness and the staff shortage. You place the tureen on the side table. Mrs. Pembroke spoons the soup into dishes. You lift the initial one, glide to Mrs. Ashworth on her left, deposit it with care. She ignores you entirely. You're no more than an object, a mechanism dispensing broth. Next, Miss Catherine. Her gown in azure silk likely outprices 5 years of your salary. Her coiffure, Rose's handiwork, is intricate. She's absorbed in correspondence as you position her bowl, not a flicker of notice. William stands out from the rest. At just 8 years old, he's innocent enough to treat the staff like actual humans. Quote 48, he murmurs softly while you place his bowl in front of him. Though protocol forbids any reaction, you manage a subtle nod despite yourself. Mrs. Ashworth chimes in then. Quote 49, quote 50, quote 51. Catherine lets out an exaggerated sigh, yet tucks the note away obediently. You step back to the sideboard, posture straight, ready for whatever comes next. The family digs into their meal, chatting among themselves. You remain motionless, blending into the background as much as possible. Mrs. Ashworth inquires of her daughter. Catherine replies. A chill creeps over your skin. Eavesdropping on their casual talk of killings amid bowls of soup feels utterly bizarre. These ladies express worry, but it's distant, like fodder for polite conversation at soiree. They're far removed from the danger, Mrs. Ashworth declares firmly. Barely a mile from here. That detail escapes you entirely. The notorious slayings everyone's buzzing about occur in Whitechapel, deep in the East End, places you've never laid eyes on. Yet 2 years prior, death struck perilously near this very home. The realization sends ice through your veins. William stays silent, focused on his soup, tuning out his mother and sister's debate on protection, decorum, and matters beyond his young concerns. Mrs. Pembroke gestures for you to clear the bowls. You move in from the right, lifting Mrs. Ashworth's first, followed by Catherine's, then William's. Return to the sideboard. James arrives with the following dish, chilled chicken salad alongside bread. You distribute it once more, approaching from the left this time. Plates down, then withdraw. Their talk resumes. Catherine's debut season ahead. The gown required for the Hartwell event. William's lessons with his instructor. Zero mention of you. Or the other help. Or the grueling effort behind preparing, presenting, and scrubbing this spread. Your mere decor, like the furnishings or the patterned walls, present yet overlooked. The lunch drags on. Clear the plates. Bring out dessert. Apple tart topped with cream. Pour the tea. Remove it all. Your feet throb from the endless stillness. Your spine stiffens under the strain of flawless bearing. But you hold steady. No fidgeting. No hints of fatigue. At last, Mrs. Ashworth stands. Come along, Catherine. We have afternoon visits scheduled. They depart. William trails after his mother, offering you one more faint, kind smile as he goes. The instant the room empties, a wave of relief washes over you, letting you relax just a fraction. Mrs. Pembroke's already piling up the dishes. Quote 6-3, she remarks. Coming from her, that's lavish approval. Haul it all to the scullery, Sarah. Good work. Those affirming words buoy you as you lug the stack down the servants' stairs. Good work. Perhaps you're not entirely inept after all. The scullery looms with its familiar piles of crockery. You're elbow deep in the luncheon wash when Mrs. Pembroke materializes at the threshold. Quote 65. Outside, beyond these walls, a spark of excitement flickers in your chest. Errands are your secret joy. Truly. Despite the trudge through London's bustling avenues, despite the haste and pressure they often bring, they offer escape, a glimpse of life past these confines. Cook wants items from the grocer. Take this list and the funds. No lingering. Safeguard the coins. Limit your words to necessities. Direct route there. Direct back. She passes over a basket, the scribbled instructions, and the money bundled in paper. You wipe your hands, shrug into your coat, that flimsy wool garment offering scant warmth against the chill, and slip out the rear entrance. The street assaults you with its raw vitality. After the house's hushed, orderly hush, the clamor, odors, and bustle of the city overwhelm. Belgravia's calmer than many districts, true, but it's London all the same. 1888, the globe's mightiest metropolis, packed with more than 5 million souls, squeezed into every nook. The fog has deepened. Not the choking pea soupers that can paralyze the streets for days on end, but dense enough to obscure anything beyond 100 feet. The atmosphere carries the bite of coal fumes. With every hearth in the city stoked on the stuff, it births this endless yellowish-gray veil that cloaks the skyline. You hurry along, gaze lowered, basket hooked on your elbow. Being a servant running errands makes you blend right into the background, unnoticed, which suits your needs perfectly. The grocer's place sits on Elizabeth Street, just a 10-minute stroll away. The path is familiar. You've handled this task plenty of times already. You pass those imposing mansions, all looking alike with their pristine white stucco facades and wrought iron fences. You go by the rare carriage dropping off or picking up finely attired folks. You weave through fellow servants and laborers, the essential cogs turning the wheels of affluent London life. At the intersection where roads converge, a crossing sweeper labors away. A lad roughly your age, clearing away horse dung and grime to let walkers pass without dirtying their footwear. His cap lies open for any tossed coins, but you can't afford to give. You navigate gingerly around the damp trail and press on. Inside the grocer's, warmth envelops you, along with inviting scents of coffee, tea, spices, and assorted dry provisions. Mr. Travers, the shopkeeper, recognizes your face right off. Ashworth House, of course. Sent by the cook. You reply. You pass over the shopping list. He scans it, gives a nod, and begins assembling the goods. Sugar, flour, tea, dried fruits, spices. His movements are swift, honed by routine. He bundles it all in brown paper, securing the packages with twine. That comes to 7 shillings and 4 pence. You tally the coins with precision. Mrs. Pembroke inspects the change, and any shortfall spells problems. Mr. Travers passes you the bundles. You nestle them securely into your basket. Awful goings-on in Whitechapel, he remarks idly. You take care out there, I trust. I do, sir. Wise. These days, a young woman shouldn't wander solo. Not with that madman on the prowl. It's odd how the topic keeps cropping up. Those killings happen miles off, in a realm utterly apart, the run-down East End, where existence is harsh and expendable. Yet the dread has seeped into every corner of the city. No one escapes it, high-born or low. Thank you, sir. You exit the shop, your basket now weighing more, and set off toward home. But you hesitate. You've got perhaps 20 minutes before Mrs. Pembroke begins fretting over your delay. 20 minutes of liberty, and you're mere blocks from the river, from catching sight of the Tower Bridge build. You ought not to. You should head directly back. Still, when might such an opportunity arise again? You veer southward, hurrying toward the Thames. The bridge dominates the view, impossible to overlook. Even through the mist, its twin colossal towers soar over the rest of this district. Gothic revival design with soaring arches and ornate masonry. Utterly unfeasible, yet utterly breathtaking. You're far from alone in your gazing. A modest group clusters along the embankment. Laborers on their lunch breaks, kids at play. Ordinary souls like yourself, drawn inexorably to the awe of erecting something so vast. The work site buzzes with disciplined frenzy. Scores of men clamber across the framework. Riveters, masons, ironworkers, surveyors. The noise assaults the ears, relentless pounding, the sharp ring of steel striking steel, barked orders, the groan of cranes hoisting hefty stone slabs. The towers stand almost finished, each resting on vast footings driven far into the riverbed. Construction began with underwater efforts via caissons, workers toiling in pressurized airlocks to dig out the sediment and lay concrete. A handful perished in those caissons, smashed, submerged, or struck by caisson disease from surfacing too hastily. Such losses go largely unmentioned. Casualties on job sites are routine, anticipated. Merely the toll for advancement. The towers rise from Cornish granite blended with Portland stone, more than 70,000 tons of it, hoisted section by section from boats and scaffolds. The towers reach 213 feet, or so you once overheard. Can't vouch for the exactness, but they're the loftiest structures you've laid eyes on. Midway between them, elevated walkways take shape, hanging spans for foot traffic, usable even as the bascule sections underneath swing open for vessels. That bascule gear, the lifting element for the road deck, remains pending. It'll arrive later. You linger, basket hooked on your arm, staring at this feat defying belief. A span over the Thames, easing passage for crowds while permitting lofty ships to navigate upstream to the Pool of London. It's 1888. You're witnessing the zenith of Victorian ingenuity. Steam engines, brute force, iron framing, cutting-edge hydraulics, all fused to forge a marvel enduring a century. 2 even. Beside you, a fellow spectator takes in the scene. He appears as a clerk, threadbare, genteel attire, fingers marked by ink. Splendid, wouldn't you say? You ought to stay silent. Avoid chatting with unknowns, but he looks innocuous. And you're simply both admiring the bridge. Yes, sir, it truly is. Word is, it'll finish in 94. Another 6 years of labor. Hard to fathom. 6 years for a bridge. It's quite immense, sir. He chuckles. So it is. The engineering marvels me. Know the bascule's operation? Hydraulic force. The hydraulic force stored in enormous reservoirs will raise those 1,000-ton spans with the same ease as you hoist your market basket. It's the era of science and progress, miss. This is what the modern world looks like. The terms escape you, accumulators, hydraulics, all far outside your schooling, but his excitement is infectious, all the same. What line of work are you in, he inquires. Domestic service, sir, at a residence in Belgravia. Ah, running an errand then. No matter. Pause a bit longer to take in the sight of this bridge, witnessing the making of history right before your eyes. History? Well, perhaps so, even if your own version unfolds in humbler measures. Did the coals catch properly? Any plates shattered? Another day holding your post. Still, there's something to this bridge, a grand, tangible sweep of events that leaves you breathless. Suddenly, you sense the time slipping away. Mrs. Pembroke will have her watch on you. You hasten from the Thames, weaving through the mist-shrouded lanes back to the townhouse. You ease through the rear entrance, a touch winded, and almost bump into Mrs. Pembroke right there in the passage. You certainly dawdled. Apologies, ma'am. The shopkeeper was occupied. She gives you a sharp look, wary, but lets it drop. You pass her the basket and the coins. She tallies them, gives a curt nod. Return to the scullery now. That luncheon mess won't clear itself. The hours melt from afternoon into dusk. Pots scoured, tiles mopped. The drawing room blaze stoked high for the family's meal. Your own supper gulped down in the servants' quarters, stew from the prior day's mutton scraps, bulked with spuds and roots. Upstairs, their feast runs to 7 removes, guests or no, broth, seafood, joint, fowl, game, pudding, savories. Cook and her girl labor over it all in the kitchens, while you trail behind, scrubbing away the remnants of each. The soiled platters keep coming, endless. Come 9 o'clock, weariness crashes over you. Feet throbbing, palms chafed and stinging, spine knotted in pain. Yet duties linger. The galley to wipe down. The sink room to sort for dawn's start. Your apron and skirts to beat free of the day's soot. Your fellow staff mirror the strain. Agnes and Emily buff the fixtures in the hall below. Thomas polishes footwear. Mrs. Pembroke's wear shows too, though she'd deny it flat. Bedtime early this evening, she announces. The lord and lady turn in soon. We'll follow suit. A rarity that. Servants typically toil till the household slumbers, well after 11 most nights. This gift of an hour more, a bed by 10, feels like indulgence. You wrap up the sink chores at last, drape the linens out to air, seal the remnants in the pantry, tamp down the stove's embers to hold through the dark hours. Reigniting come morning spares the hassle. Up in your cramped garret, Mary's already tucked away when you ascend the steps. She's huddled toward the plaster, back to the door. Mary, nothing. Asleep, or feigning it. You shed your clothes by feel in the gloom. Hook the dress neatly. Slip into the loose flannel gown for nights. The space chills to the bone. No hearth, no warmth against the November bite creeping from every crack. You slip under the covers beside her. The ticking sags, the coverlet scant. You huddle tight, chasing any scrap of heat. Sarah, Mary's tone is faint amid the shadows. Figured you were out. Earlier, folding the laundry on the upper landing, I caught voices. What sort? Mrs. Ashworth and Miss Catherine, murmuring of the killings. You hold still. She presses on, hushed as a breath. Police reckon he'll hit again before long. Some rhythm to it. Every couple weeks. Near a week gone since the latest. One more poor soul lost any day now. That's Whitechapel worries, Mary. Miles from our patch. But suppose it isn't. Suppose he drifts our way. Suppose he... Her words falter. I'm frightened, Sarah. terrified to step out to the necessary in the dark. Every silhouette unnerves me. Every creak sets me shaking. You grope across, clasp her fingers in the black. Hold firm. We're secure enough here, under roof, side by side. No harm's reaching us. You wonder if it's true for you, but it's what she craves. She grips in return. Swear it? Swear. Silence falls a beat then. Ever miss home? The moors up north. Now and then. Aye, but no prospects wait. No jobs, no path ahead. Mine's the same tale. Least the dread wasn't so thick there. That sense of doom lurking round every corner. City's perils have always simmered. This just bares the teeth, stirs the talk. True enough. Quiet again. A spell. Before. You're a good soul, Sarah. Rest now, Mary. Dawn bells toll soon. She lets go, shifts away, and soon her breath's deep and steady. You stare into the void longer, mulling the hours gone. The hearths kindled, the china rinsed, the upstairs repast, the span over the water, the sleighings, the pall hanging thick as the haze. Your mind drifts to the lady who'd paused for words with you that morning. Out front on your knees with the stoopstone, you lie there pondering her words longer than you expected. Quote 67 she'd inquired, as though your feelings as a lowly scullery maid truly counted for anything, as if anyone's concern extended to whether you found joy or despair in your days. Your mind drifts to the clerk at the bridge, remarking how you're witnessing history unfold. Then there's Rose's icy glare when she spotted you peering from Miss Catherine's window. Quote 68. The image lingers, sharp as a warning. You can't shake thoughts of those 5 victims in Whitechapel, women forced into street walking because life offered them nothing else. They likely began much like you, youthful, destitute, scrambling for any job. Desperate souls who exhausted every path until the only road left led to the peril of the world's most hazardous trade. Could that fate await you one day? If this job vanished, if no other came along, if every door slammed shut with no refuge in sight, the idea sends chills through you. Yet here you are, employed, with meals, a roof, and 14 pounds annually. Far better off than they ever were. All it takes is holding on to it, keep toiling away, remain unseen, endure day by day. Your lids droop heavier now. Exhaustion tugs insistently after hours of unrelenting toil. The next day looms identical, rousing at 4:30, tending fires, washing dishes, scouring surfaces, lugging loads, waiting on others, fading into the edges of their world. But that's for later. For now, it's simply this moment. The lumpy mattress, coarse coverlet, Mary's steady breaths nearby. The pitch-black confines of a windowless basement chamber. Slumber beckons, drawing you under. Yet just as it nears, a sound pierces the quiet. A far-off cry outdoors. A woman's shriek, abruptly silenced. Alertness floods back in an instant. Your pulse races wildly. Was it real or a trick of the mind? Mary sleeps on undisturbed. Perhaps it was nothing, but then come murmurs, yells, the patter of feet rushing along the street. Troubles afoot. You slide from the bed, tug on your frock without fastening it, and edge toward the door. The servant's wing buzzes faintly, rustles from adjacent spaces. Hushed whispers. Agnes steps into the corridor, shrouded in a wrap. Quote 69. Thomas steps out from his quarters, yanking on his footwear. Quote 70. At the hall's far end, Mrs. Pembroke materializes with a flickering candle, clad neatly despite the hour. She appears perpetually vigilant. Thomas, you will not. All of you remain indoors. Agnes, Sarah, return to your rooms at once. Now, that's an order. Fear edges her tone, evident in her rigid stance. Mrs. Pembroke, unnerved, unheard of. You withdraw to your space, but stay upright. Mary's roused, propped on her elbows, eyes enormous in the dim glow. Quote 72, quote 73. You ease the door ajar a fraction. Mrs. Pembroke confers softly in the servants' hall with Mr. Davies, who's emerged in his robe. Snatches reach you. Quote 74. Full words evade you, but the anxiety hangs thick. Footfalls echo overhead. The household stirs. Mr. Ashworth's authoritative timbre demands answers, probes for details. Time stretches oddly, blurring into an endless wait. An eternity in mere moments, or so it feels. You and Mary cluster close, ears strained, expectant. At last, steps descend the basement stairs. Mr. Davies fills your threshold. Girls, an assault occurred on the adjacent road. A woman's been hurt. Authorities are on scene. No one leaves the premises. All staff confined until we hear more. Clear? Yes, Mr. Davies. The very next street, Mary whispers, her words quivering. Indeed, but she survived. Fought back, it seems, and he fled. That's the police's view anyway. He pauses. Doesn't matter. You're secure here. Doors bolted. Rest if you can. He departs. In the candle's flicker, you meet Mary's gaze. The adjacent street, just a brief 5-minute stroll from this very house, this dim basement where you bed down. She fought him off. The Ripper. No need to voice the monster's moniker. All know it instinctively. Whitechapel's horrors have spread beyond its bounds. Sarah. Mary's chattering despite the mild chill. Quote 81. You draw her near, your arm steadying her. Tremors rack her frame, raw terror shaking her. Quote 82. But should he approach, breach the walls. Quote 83. You're fabricating reassurance, clueless about the fiend's whims, but Mary craves solace. You remain by her side until the quakes fade, her breaths even out. Composure returns enough for her to recline. You extinguish the flame. Gloom swallows the room anew, yet repose eludes you entirely. Flat on your back, eyes fixed on the void, you attune to every creak. The building's groans, plumbing sighs, gusts rattling outdoors. Each stir hints at peril. Every unseen shape whispers menace. Time drags on. Eventually, exhaustion claims you, and you're startled awake by the bell tolling at 4:30. Dawn's chores await, firing up the hearths. The atmosphere in the house has shifted come morning. It's charged with unease. Staff shuffle about in silence, their voices hushed to murmurs. Overnight, the authorities arrived, conducting inquiries and scouring the premises, though you slumbered right through it all. Mrs. Pembroke summons the entire household staff to the servants' hall prior to the morning meal. You've no doubt caught wind of the previous evening's horror. A lady was assaulted right there on Chester Square. Mercifully, she pulled through and is receiving care at the hospital. The constables urge us to stay alert. Absolutely no venturing out solo. Any tasks outside must be handled in twos. And after sunset, nobody steps foot beyond these walls. No exceptions. These precautions hold until the police lift them. Understood. A murmur of affirmatives ripples through. Yes, Mrs. Pembroke. The family's anxiety is entirely warranted. We'll each contribute to safeguarding them and ourselves. Now back to our duties. Sarah, tend to the fires. You collect your scuttle of coal and bundle of kindling. Thomas tags along as you ascend the rear staircase. Even within these walls, the new pairing protocol governs travel between levels. One by one, you prepare the flames in the drawing room, morning room, and dining room, while Thomas keeps vigil at the threshold, as though the fiend himself might burst from hiding. It's ridiculous, yet utterly chilling, knowing he prowled Chester Square, just a block over, treading the very paths you frequent. inhaling the same mist-shrouded breaths. Everyone clings to the fact that the victim lived. She resisted and drove him away. But that only signals his growing audacity, straying from Whitechapel into finer districts. Safety is an illusion for all. The hearths blaze at last. Down you go to the basement, pitching in with breakfast setup. The family's meal unfolds in a somber hush. You're not on serving detail, as Martha's reclaimed her role after her recovery. Still, James fills you in. Mr. Ashworth's livid, railing at the authorities, demanding to know their plans, insisting the commissioner step down. He declares no one secure, not even in slumber. Grim as it sounds, Cook mutters, "He's spot on." The hours grind forward, routines unbroken, yet dread simmers beneath the surface. In startled flinches at abrupt sounds, in the obsessive double-checking of locks, in the hushed chats that hush abruptly at approaching footsteps. As night falls, word evolves. The assault wasn't the Ripper's doing after all, just a brutal spouse, intoxicated and savage, a mere household quarrel unlinked to Whitechapel. Relief washes over the place, but the terror lingers, for it might have been him. The next strike could be. Somehow, existence presses on. November fades into December. The apprehension endures, but it settles into the everyday hum. The killings persist in Whitechapel. Another victim in early December, though reports clash on the particulars. Belgravia stays untouched, at least. Duties roll onward, igniting fires at daybreak, scouring plates post-meal, polishing floors, emptying slop jars, the relentless rhythm sustaining the household. You pick up finer points of upstairs service. Martha drills you on table arrangements, the precise positioning of cutlery, glasses, every utensil. You rehearse until it's second nature, even half asleep. Your endurance builds. The grueling toil that exhausted you those initial days now feels routine. Sinews strengthen in your limbs. Skin on your palms thickens and hardens. Heavier burdens become your norm. Shifts stretch longer. Rest grows scarcer, yet you adapt. Mid-December brings Mary low with a fever and a deep, hacking cough. They isolate her in another chamber to spare you contagion. Her absence leaves the space emptier, lonelier, despite your scant words exchanged. Her mere company had softened the solitude. She rebounds after 7 days, returning gaunt and ashen, but on the mend. Cook simmers nourishing soup, bulks her up, restores her vigor. The holidays arrive. The Ashworths decamp to the countryside for a week at Mrs. Ashworth's ancestral pile. The bulk of the staff accompanies them. You're among the trio minding the townhouse. You, Thomas, and Mrs. Pembroke. The vast emptiness echoes strangely with so few souls. Your festive supper unfolds in the servants' hall. Roast fowl prepped by cook, spuds, greens, and a modest plum duff. Mrs. Pembroke fetches a bottle from the cellar, decants a measure for each. To endurance, she toasts, lifting her glass. To wrapping up yet another year. The vintage glides down, velvety and full-bodied, worlds apart from pub swill. It spreads warmth through your core. You've managed admirably, Sarah, Mrs. Pembroke remarks, far surpassing my initial hopes when you showed up. So fragile, so timid. I figured you'd endure a month, perhaps 2 at most. I was petrified, you confess. The wines eased your reserve. Plenty of lasses are. Many don't endure. They bolt, get sacked, or tumble into scrapes. But you've stayed focused, toiled diligently, dodged mischief. That counts for a lot. It's the closest you've come to a heartfelt exchange with her. This marks the longest stretch of words from her on any topic beyond duties. Do you ever wish you'd chosen differently? You venture, domestic service. She falls silent for what feels like ages. Every single day, yet not once. It's a grueling existence, but it's existence all the same. I've witnessed the other options. I'll pick honest toil over famine or something even grimmer anytime. That unspoken worse lingers between you. Both of you grasp its weight. Society offers scant mercy to females lacking resources. Mrs. Pembroke presses on. Our paths are few and narrow. Service stands as one viable route. Wedlock if fortune smiles on you, the poorhouse if it doesn't, or the gutters. She lifts her glass for another swallow. I selected this path. I've come to terms with it. Her words prompt reflection on options, or their absence, on the tightrope you're treading between mere endurance and ruin. Are you planning to remain? Mrs. Pembroke inquires once your initial year concludes. The question catches you off guard. Your apprenticeship ends come April, just 4 months hence. I'm unsure. You reply, what other place calls me? Likely none. Yet some young women entertain notions of superior roles, higher pay, improved circumstances. She gives a rueful shake of her head. More often than not, they merely swap one set of woes for another. Still, it's worth pondering. Should you decide to continue here, I can push for a modest raise. 15 pounds annually. Up from 14. Not a fortune, but a start. 15 pounds. A full pound more each year, translating to an extra shilling and 8 pence per month. The words escape you unbidden. I'll remain. Excellent. We'll shape you into a true housemaid before long. Perhaps even elevate you to parlor maid in a few years, provided you maintain your diligence. Parlor maid? That would mean advancement, higher earnings, elevated standing. It's a modest aspiration, but a goal nonetheless. The household resumes after the New Year holiday. Activity surges once more, the residents alive with clamor and directives. Tasks multiply in urgency. Soirees, formal suppers, and societal duties abound. Miss Catherine's debut season looms, heralding fresh gowns, elaborate arrangements. Mounting costs. You slot into the relentless engine powering these affairs. You scrub plates from banquets seating 20. You assist in dragging additional pieces from the attic storeroom. You buff the silverware till your limbs throb. Amid it all, the killings persist. Yet another female in January. The papers waver on whether it's the Ripper's handiwork this time. Dread settles in as a steady undercurrent, woven into daily life alongside the pervasive mist, the chill, and the perpetual strain of weary limbs. It's a Tuesday in February that upends matters once more. You're dispatched by the cook to procure butter from the Eccleston Street Dairy. Mid-afternoon, daylight holds, deemed secure by every protocol. Agnes accompanies you, as mandated. No solitary outings permitted. The shop bustles with patrons. You queue patiently, settle the bill, accept the muslin-wrapped parcel. Emerging with Agnes onto the pavement, there she stands. A figure at the intersection. She scans the roadway, eyes distant and vacant. At first, you peg her as intoxicated, given the subtle sway, but then details emerge. Her gown ripped and dirtied, flecked with blood. Bruises mar her features. Strands of hair escape their fastenings. Agnes, you murmur. See that? Agnes spots her. You both freeze briefly. Then her stare sharpens on you. She lurches ahead, falters, steadies against the brickwork. Help me, she rasps, voice raw. Please. Protocol screams to keep moving, to avert your eyes. She's apt to be inebriated, likely soliciting, bound to spell complications. Yet she's injured too. A fellow woman in distress. You hurry across the way. Agnes trails, hesitant. Nearer, she appears less mature than initial impressions suggested, perhaps 25. Beneath the grime, her attire hints at prior respectability, humble origins. Yet proper. What befell you? You inquire. A fellow, a man. He attempted. The words falter, tremors rack her frame, chattering her teeth. Did he injure you? A nod. Her fingers grazed the deepest discolorations on her cheek. I resisted, fled, but he... Agnes tugs your arm. Sarah, we must leave. This doesn't concern us. Leaving her behind feels impossible, though. Where's your home? Pimlico, but I daren't return in this state. My landlord, he'll assume, she'll presume I was. The dread rings true. Fear of being branded immoral. Anyone we could summon for aid? A relative. My sibling, she's employed close by, as cook in the Morrison residence on Belgrave Square. If you'd only inform her that Ellen requires her. Ellen, you echo. Your sister cooks at the Morrison house. That's right, please. I'll hold position here. Simply relay it. Agnes protests with a headshake. Sarah, no. We'll tarry too long. Mrs. Pembroke will... 10 minutes at most. You counter, let's go. The Morrison abode lies merely 3 blocks distant. You head to the staff door, rap firmly. A scullery girl responds. I must see the cook immediately. Her sisters suffered harm. The girl's gaze rounds in alarm. She vanishes inside. Soon, a sturdy woman emerges, mature and resolute, bearing Ellen's gaze. What occurred? Where is she? You recount the tale swiftly. Mrs. Shaw, the cook, wastes no second. She snatches up her cloak, instructs the kitchen maid to take over her duties, and trails after you to the spot where Ellen remains, huddled in wait. Their embrace is short-lived, yet filled with raw emotion. Mrs. Shaw envelops her sister in the garment, whispering comforts, then turns to you with eyes brimming thanks. Thank you. I'll handle things from now on. God bless you for stepping in. Where on earth have you been? The dairy was packed, Mrs. Pembroke. We couldn't get through any sooner. Her gaze narrows in doubt, yet she lets the excuse stand. The butter reaches the cook at last. The episode concludes. Or so it seems. For you, though, it lingers. That evening, as you lie abed, your mind replays Ellen's ordeal, the terror etched on her face, the ripped fabric and welts marking her skin, the chilling realization that it might just as well have struck you. There you were, on a sunlit thoroughfare, accompanied no less, and peril still struck that poor soul. Safety proves elusive. Truly so. Not for souls like yours, like Ellen's, like the countless unseen women propping up the pulse of London. The idea gnaws at you, robbing sleep until the wee hours. March ushers in milder air and hints of renewal, even as the city's chill winter grip lingers defiantly. Miss Catherine's social whirl kicks off. The household erupts into frenzy. Evening banquets, galas, daytime visits, tea-time gatherings. You scour platters from affairs forever beyond your reach. Plate food for guests oblivious to your existence. Yet a change stirs within. Ellen's mishap, the protracted season of dread, the unceasing toil, it's all coalesced into a sharp awareness. At 15, you've toiled in service almost a full year, and it dawns. This is your path forward, the one you selected, or perhaps the one that claimed you. You can embrace it or let bitterness consume you. You opt for resignation, if not outright joy. Precisely, not serenity, but resignation. Grueling as it is, the labor holds integrity. Shelter and sustenance come your way. Remittances flow to your kin. You're enduring. That's no small feat. On a Sunday toward month's end in late March, Mrs. Pembroke grants you the afternoon free, a nod to your diligence. You're free to venture out, mind the standard precautions, stick to respectable districts, return by dusk, keep clear of mischief. Enjoyable stroll. Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Pembroke. Fine. Rest up. Monday looms, and the week's packed. Monday, naturally. The rhythm persists. Your inaugural year wraps on an April Thursday. Mrs. Pembroke summons you to her quarters, a cramped space adjacent to the staff quarters for tallying ledgers. Take a seat, Sarah. You obey. Pulse races. It might signal anything: release, advancement, rebuke. No clue. You've finished your initial term. Well done. Milestone reached. Thank you, Mrs. Pembroke. I've observed your progress. From timid country lass to reliable help. Diligent effort. No gripes. No disruptions. Such traits stand out. Words escape you, so silence holds. I'm proposing a fresh agreement. 15 pounds annually, as I noted over Christmas, with chance for between-maid role in half a year should you maintain this caliber. Does that appeal? Quote, 97. Yes, Mrs. Pembroke, immensely. Quote, 98. Splendid. We'll formalize the documents. You remain in place till October. We'll evaluate your progress again come autumn. Put in the effort, and you'll climb the ranks here. Get lazy, and it's back to the pots and pans for you. Clear? Yes, Mrs. Pembroke. Thank you, Mrs. Pembroke. You're free to go. You exit her office that same day. 15 pounds annually from May through October. It isn't a fortune, but it's a step forward. It shows your efforts count, that you hold some value in this place, however slight. That evening, amid the shadows of your cramped shared quarters, you share the news with Mary. That's fantastic, Sarah. I'm thrilled for you. Your turn will come soon enough. Just stay diligent. I truly hope you're right. I aim to build a real future for myself, not to languish at the very bottom indefinitely. You won't. Neither will I. We'll rise together. We'll succeed. You're uncertain if you trust those words, but voicing them lends them a spark of truth. As spring melts into summer, London's swelter turns suffocating. The metropolis simmers beneath relentless sunlight. The usual mist gives way to heavy, muggy haze that's even tougher to endure. Your chores persist unabated, though they shift in nature. Fewer loads of coal for the hearths, yet endless tasks to combat the heat. Sashes flung wide, drapes pulled tight to block the glare. Additional dusting as grime drifts in from the roads. The Ripper's spree has ended. The final verified attack dates to November, 7 months past. Detectives continue their probes, but the hysteria has ebbed. The capital now buzzes with fresh outrages and anxieties. You've pushed ahead as well. The dread that once robbed you of sleep has dulled to everyday exhaustion. You remain cautious on errands, ever mindful of your environment. Yet the sharp panic has vanished. Existence has settled into a steady rhythm. Rise at 4:30, kindle the flames, rinse the plates, polish the planks, attend to the family's meals, tackle another round of dishes, collapse into bed, and start anew. Within this cycle lies a subtle comfort. Predictability reigns. Expectations are crystal clear. You've grown skilled at these duties, reliable, occasionally assured. Thomas departs in July, securing a footman's role in a more lavish home with superior pay. His absence will sting. He offered a gentle sort of support, never mocking your gaps in knowledge. A fresh hall boy joins the staff, callow and raw. You guide his early days, demonstrating the essentials. It's an odd reversal, positioning you as the veteran, imparting wisdom rather than absorbing it. August brings Agnes's wedding. A modest rite at the parish chapel, capped by a gathering in the servants' hall, courtesy of Mrs. Pembroke. Agnes glows in her unadorned gown, while her Jack stands tall yet jittery in his best attire. You'll meet your match before long, she assures you during the festivities. You've got youth on your side, time aplenty. Marriage lingers far from your thoughts. October dominates your mind. The prospect of ascending to between maid, of drawing 17 or 18 pounds yearly in place of 15, of perhaps claiming a private space someday rather than this shared nook. Modest aspirations, yet wholly your own. Mrs. Pembroke honors her commitment. By October, you earn the between maid title. Your salary rises to 17 pounds per year. Responsibilities evolve. Reduced menial labor, increased assistance in serving. You aid the parlor maid and housemaid in their rounds. Table service becomes routine. The family glimpses you more. Though they still demand your seamless disappearance at will, the advancement includes a wardrobe refresh, a finer frock, a spotless apron, minor perks signaling your elevated place. Mary beams with sincere delight. Told you advancement was coming. Mine's on the horizon too. Patience is key. Yet Mary falters. Illness plagues her through the fall. A persistent hack, unrelenting. She's gaunt, perpetually chilled, drained of energy. Concern gnaws at you, though solutions elude you. Mrs. Pembroke has observed the decline but holds her tongue for now. November returns, marking a year since the uproar, since that scream echoed across Chester Square, and you feared the Ripper's shadow in Belgravia. The milestone slips by unnoticed. Those crimes are yesterday's headlines. The city frets over newer woes. You're 16, a year and a half in London. Survival marks your record. You're enduring. That's no small feat. 2 weeks shy of Christmas. Mary crumples in the scullery. Midway through the dishwashing, she slumps to the tiles, fainted, her clothes drenched. Your cry summons aid. Mrs. Pembroke hurries in alongside you. Together, you convey Mary to her bunk. A physician is fetched. He probes her condition, queries her symptoms, and furrows his brow. Consumption he diagnoses. Initial phase, yet evident. Rest, nourishing meals, clean breezes, ideally rural ones, are essential. The city's smog only worsens it. Consumption, tuberculosis, often a fatal blow. Particularly for indigent young women lacking means for care. Mrs. Pembroke contacts Mary's kin. They organize her journey back to Dorset. A local vicar oversees a modest charitable ward where recovery might be possible. Mary departs 3 days on. You assist in bundling her scant possessions. Tears stream as she grips you tightly. I can't bear leaving. I don't want to abandon this. You must. Healing demands it. Will our paths cross once more? Absolutely. You'll mend and return, and we'll bunk together anew. Deep down, you both recognize the falsehood. Patients with consumption seldom pull through. And should Mary somehow beat it, she'd lack the stamina to return to domestic duties. This marks the end for her. She departs in a carriage, with Mrs. Pembroke escorting her to the railway station. From the basement window, you observe the vehicle receding into the distance. Mary vanishes from your life forever. Word reaches you much later that she passed away in February, slipping away gently during the night. At least she spent her final days with kin. The tidings strike you more deeply than anticipated. Your acquaintance with her was brief. You'd roomed together for a year and a half, yet never formed a deep bond. Merely two young women enduring side by side. Still, she belonged to you in some measure, your fellow lodger, your ally amid the gloom, the one who gripped your fingers in moments of dread. Now she's departed. A newcomer takes her place, a 12-year-old from Sussex. Quaking with fear, you extend the same gentleness to her that Mary once showed you. It's the least you can manage. 18 months have elapsed since that initial dawn when you roused in the shadows and inhaled the multifaceted sense of London for the very first time. Since you kindled your inaugural blaze, scoured your debut plate, and grasped the essence of invisibility. At 16, verging on 17, you're an undermaid earning £17 annually, with a shot at advancing to housemaid come summer if your diligence persists. Transformation has reshaped you. Your palms bear constant roughness, thickened with calluses. Nails split no matter your care. Your spine has toughened. Your limbs gained sinew absent back in Yorkshire. Your gait has shifted, swifter, more resolute. Your words have evolved, laced with London idioms. The broad Yorkshire lilt diminishes. You've witnessed marvels and horrors. Tower Bridge emerging gradually from the Thames. The dread that seized the city in that harrowing autumn. A battered, blood-smeared woman slumped at a roadside. Your roommate succumbing to the wasting sickness. Knowledge has accumulated too, igniting a blaze that takes hold immediately, burnishing silver to a mirror shine, balancing 3 dishes without mishap, vanishing when it suits, and materializing as needed, persisting against the odds. The metropolis that once daunted you no longer does. Its pulses are familiar. You steer clear of perilous alleys and favor secure paths. You recognize the Thames stench at ebb tide, the bitter edge of the meager tea in the servants' quarters. Church chimes toll the hours for you, and fog clings to your flesh like an old acquaintance. London has woven itself into your roots, not cozy or forgiving, yet undeniably yours. Occasionally, you ponder the timid 15-year-old who stepped off the train with a pair of frocks and a reference letter. She feels distant now, like a faded memory. And you, an undermaid in a Belgravia residence, a veteran of the capital's harsh lanes and grueling labors, a young woman emerging, albeit far from the tales in books. No grand loves or exploits, only toil, endurance, and modest triumphs. But persist you do. You endure. You thrive. It's a Sunday. You're half-day free. Mid-May 1890. The air carries true warmth, not mere respite from chill. Spring asserts itself at last. You stroll to the Thames once more. It's your ritual on these off hours when possible. Tower Bridge nears completion. The elevated paths stand ready, glassed-in spans linking the towers. The bascule system takes shape, with enormous counterweights poised to hoist the spans. They predict its debut next year. 4 years of labor, culminating in permanence. On the embankment, you gaze at laborers clambering across the framework, crafting a legacy that will eclipse your lifetimes. Nearby lingers a woman, elegantly attired, around 30, sharing your captivated stare. Remarkable, isn't it? Quote, 100 yes, ma'am. You reply, it is. I've followed its progress for years from my place by the river. Each day it inches taller. You're lucky indeed, ma'am. Am I? Yes, ma'am. Undermaid in a Belgravia household. Do you enjoy the duties? The query resurfaces. Do you relish it? It's labor, ma'am, demanding, yet upright. I'm grateful for the position. Grateful? In certain respects, yes, but you're so youthful, far too soon to settle into servitude's rut. I can't imagine alternatives. Ma'am dot underscore, quote underscore 109 underscore, no, I reckon not. Underscore, quote underscore 110, underscore I served once, long ago. A parlor maid in a Kensington home. Underscore, quote, underscore 111, underscore I'm wed now, she anticipates your wonder, to a clerk. We toiled, scrimped, improved our lot. He's a manager these days. We keep our own home, with staff of our own. That's splendid, ma'am. Is it, though? There are moments when I doubt it. I watch the young lass handling my scullery tasks. She's just 14 from Wales, scared of every little thing. It takes me back to my own days like that, and I can't help questioning if I ought to step in more, find some way to support her. Yet what can one truly do? Show a bit of compassion, offer wages a touch above the norm. It falls short, I know. Still, it's the only approach that comes to mind. You're at a loss for words. She appears lost in her own reflections, speaking more to herself than to you. Push forward with diligence, she concludes at last. Stash away whatever you can. Stay open to possibilities. Avoid locking into any path until it's unavoidable. Yes, ma'am. Much obliged, ma'am. She departs, abandoning you beside the river, your mind swirling with thoughts of prospects, choices, and the slim divide separating servitude from whatever lies beyond. As dusk falls, you make your way back to the house. The city glows in hues of gold and amber. Stunning, even amid the chill haze, the destitution, all the grim aspects that mar it. You enter via the rear entrance. The kitchen carries the aroma of the roast and the cook is readying for the family's evening meal. The servants' hall lies silent. The rest of the staff are enjoying their half-days off. You retreat to your quarters. The newcomer, Lizzie, sits there, penning a note to her family. She glances up as you step in. "Enjoy your afternoon." "I certainly did." "And yours." "I remained indoors. Venturing out by myself still unnerves me too much." "You'll adjust soon enough. I felt the same jitters when I started, truly. You come across as so assured, as if you've always navigated this place effortlessly." You nearly chuckle. Assured, had she witnessed you a year and a half back, that notion would vanish. Experience builds it gradually. Simply persist with your duties. Absorb what you can. Things smooth out over time. Fingers crossed. You slip into your uniform for duties. Tasks linger before lights out. The supper plates won't clean themselves. Yet prior to descending to the scullery, you pause in the threshold of your cramped space and truly take it in. This windowless nook, icy come winter, stifling in the heat, shared with an endless parade of wide-eyed newcomers from rural spots. The very nadir of the household's order. It leaves much to be desired, yet it belongs to you temporarily until you climb higher, secure a superior role, perhaps someday claim a private one. Modest aspirations, but they fuel your resolve. Down you go to the scullery. The platters await. They invariably do, though the drudgery bothers you less these days. Such is your role. Such is your existence, and you've come to terms with it. Days blend into weeks, weeks into months. The calendar advances. June, July, August. The swelter returns heavy and muggy, suffocating. You rinse dishware in water that's scarcely refreshing. You polish floors till perspiration stings your vision. You lug pails of water, scuttles of coal, bundles of wash, and all manner of loads. But strength has grown in you now. The labor that once threatened to crush you early on feels routine. Arduous, without question. Draining, indeed, but within reach. Come September, you're elevated to housemaid. 18 pounds annually. Your solitary chamber, minuscule. Scarcely larger than a cupboard, but exclusively yours. No more bunking with others. No more enduring a roommate's nighttime sobs. It boasts a window, narrow and positioned up high, overlooking the rear yard, yet a window nonetheless. Daylight filters in naturally, offering a glimpse of the heavens. On your inaugural evening there, you linger by that pane, gazing at the slender vista of London. Mostly it's the yard and the enclosing barrier, but rising over it, the expanse of sky, stars peeking through if the smog thins, the moon swelling to fullness. You reflect on your journey. Scullery maid to housemaid in a mere 18 months, salary up from 14 pounds to 18, from a communal basement cubby to this personal haven with its sliver of light. Paltry compared to the upstairs realm, to the family you attend who drop 18 pounds on a gown without a second thought. But measured against your own yardstick, against the wide-eyed arrival from Yorkshire with empty pockets, it's a triumph. November rolls in once more. 2 years from that initial November in the capital. 2 years past the Ripper frenzy, the killings now seldom recalled. Stale terror consigned to memory. The metropolis braces for the chill season. Fuel shipments multiply, blazes crackle in every hearth. The smog creeps back, dense and ochre, enshrouding London in its customary veil. You kindle the fires each dawn, no longer single-handedly. Assistance arrives these days. You're directing more than toiling solo. Still, you ensure the task's completion, verifying each grate is set and ignited correctly. Dishes pass through your hands, fewer in number. Floors receive your attention less frequently. Table service falls to you often now, a reliable fixture among the staff. Mrs. Pembroke nods at your advancement. You've managed admirably, Sarah, quite admirably. Sustain this pace, and the heights within domestic bounds hold no barrier for you. No ceiling in these constrained realms. You might ascend to parlor maid, or, with exceptional luck and talent, perhaps lady's maid. The ultimate attainment. A lady's maid to the lady of the house, handling her clothing, confidences, and personal requirements. That's a worthy ambition, something to strive toward, a path ahead. This Christmas feels unlike the others. The household remains in the city, throwing a lavish gathering with 20 people at the table, then entertainment in the parlor afterward. You're on the crew that handles the serving, the clearing, and the whole affair. The labor is relentless, endless setup, non-stop attending, and scrubbing long into the night. You wrap up after midnight, bone-tired, souls throbbing, spine in agony. Yet you pulled it off. You helped deliver an elegant feast in an elegant home. Nothing slipped from your grasp, no mishaps with spills, no shame brought to you or the place. Mrs. Pembroke calls the team together once it's over. Fine job, all of you. A triumph of a night. The lady of the house is delighted. The lady of the house is delighted. Words of real esteem. You can all rest until 8 for breakfast tomorrow, not 7. That additional sleep, an indulgence like no other. You stumble back to your quarters, peel away the work clothes, and tumble into your slim cot, your private spot, with its own pane overlooking the dark heavens. Sleep claims you instantly. Time shifts onward. Winter loosens its hold. Spring emerges, shy and drizzly. Folks mention the Tower Bridge will debut in June of 1894. From your spot now, that's 3 years off yet. You've observed its construction for ages. Tough to picture it complete, though it surely will be one day. All things conclude in time. You're 17 these days, approaching 18. 2.5 years in London, 2.5 in household duties. It seems eternal, yet fleeting too. You've mastered getting around town, the bus lines that lead where, the bazaars, stores, secure paths versus the risky ones. The city belongs to you in ways it never could for those above stairs who stick to polished districts and elite boutiques. Yours is the laboring side, the servant's world. The London of dawn starts and midnight finishes, burdened carts and sore limbs, endurance and tiny triumphs. You still wire funds back home. Your kin rely on every bit. The little ones are maturing without you really knowing them now. Your notes to the family are lovely but remote. Yorkshire belongs to another era. Service in London defines you here. The relentless loop of toil, rest, and toil anew. Late one April night, you're stacking linens in the staff room. It's calm labor, soothing after the dinner frenzy. Rose is close by, stitching up a gown for Mrs. Ashworth. She's warmed to you more since your early days. You've shown your mettle, gained some regard. Ever ponder quitting? She blurts out. Quitting the trade altogether. No, trying another home. A new role somewhere? The thought crosses your mind at times. But for what reason? The tasks are equitable, pay decent enough. Mrs. Pembroke demands much, but isn't harsh. What better spot awaits? Likely none. Though certain lasses enjoy switching places, experiencing varied homes and clans. I favor steadiness. This place is familiar. I grasp the routines. That counts for plenty. Rose agrees with a dip of her head. Smart choice. Those hunting bigger paychecks often learn it's not the gain they hoped. Safer to remain where you're appreciated. Appreciated. You figure you are, or they'd have let you go long ago. Things hum along thanks to your efforts. That's value in its way. Do you ever wish you'd chosen otherwise? You inquire. Service day in, day out? Rose replies promptly, and not once. Tough going, yes, but it's mine. I've accepted it fully, echoing what Mrs. Pembroke told you back then. The stance of those who picked this path over worse fates. You stack the final batch, haul it up to the storage closet. The residence is hushed. The upstairs folk have withdrawn for the evening. Only the help drifts about, tying up loose ends. You go by Miss Catherine's door, ajar just a crack. She's there at her vanity, with Rose at her side. Catherine chats animatedly, giggling over some social mishap. Rose engages, replies. Their bond is relaxed, familiar. That might be your lot eventually. Personal attendant to a young woman like her. A role of confidence and easier days. Or perhaps not. You might linger as a housemaid indefinitely, or find a partner wed and exit the field entirely, or fall ill as Mary did and pass too soon, or age into the cellars below, fingers twisted by joint pain, posture forever stooped. No telling, no way to foresee. Tomorrow stays unpredictable. Your only move is diligent effort, scrimping where possible, and wishing for fortune. It's a mild July night. You complete your duties ahead of schedule, an uncommon treat. Mrs. Pembroke allows a brief spell in the yard before turning in. You settle into a seat outdoors. The yard is compact, yet it holds the sunset's glow. The breeze feels gentle, nearly inviting. The city's hum seeps through the enclosing walls, clopping hooves, muffled chatter, the far-off growl of carriages. Yet within this compact haven, silence reigns. You shut your eyes, allowing the sunlight to caress your features for those 30 minutes. In this moment, you're no longer bound by your role as a housemaid. You're simply a young woman basking in the glow, finding respite. Your thoughts drift northward to Yorkshire, to the hazy memory of your mother's features, which time is beginning to blur. To your brothers and sisters, now distant figures reshaped by years apart. To your father and his terse note from last month, announcing a job at a fresh mill. Curt and awkward, as always from a man who shunned eloquence. Your mind turns to Mary. You ponder her tranquility and wish it for her truly. You reflect on what's ahead, the modest strides you've taken, the faint hope of further gains. You contemplate London itself, this sprawling, grimy, awe-inspiring, ruthless metropolis, a beast that devours innocence like yourself and discards the remnants. Yet somehow, you've held on, endured. The sunlight dips toward the horizon, its heat ebbing away. Your brief interlude ends. You retreat indoors, to your chamber, to the routine you've carved out in this place. It's far from the dreams of your youth, nothing anyone would select with true freedom. Still, it's yours, and you've shaped it into something viable. That's a victory. That's sufficient. Dusk descends. The household eases into its nightly cadence. The family withdraws to their suites. The staff completes duties and heads to their lodgings. Now you're settled in your own quarters, modest and unadorned, yet undeniably personal. You ignite your candle, permitted a complete one weekly these days, a far cry from the pitiful remnants of your scullery days. The wick sparks, dances briefly, then holds steady, casting a gentle glow across the cramped area. You shed your attire methodically, securing the uniform on its peg. You don your nightgown, faded from use but freshly laundered. You rinse your face and hands in the chilly basin water. Then you run a brush through your hair exactly 100 times, following the ritual your mother instilled in Yorkshire when you were still that other version of yourself. The bed is slim yet inviting. You've adapted to slumber in all sorts of spots under varied circumstances. But there's solace in this one, in claiming it as your domain. No shared warmth, no intrusions. This nook belongs solely to you. You slide beneath the covers. The air chills slightly, though not uncomfortably. London's summer lingers mildly, sparing the need for added layers. From the window, a sliver of sky peeks through, a narrow frame of night amid the structures, revealing stars if you strain to spot them. Urban glare and sooty haze veil most, but a handful persist, faint twinkles. You replay the day's toil, the morning hearths you kindled, the breakfast ware you cleared, the silver you burnished, the midday meal you tended, the hours flogging rugs in the yard, the evening repast you facilitated, the ceaseless wash-up that followed, a sequence as predictable as any, with tomorrow mirroring it, and the next day too. Such is your existence, the foundation you've laid, the path you're forging onward. Incremental triumphs, gradual advances, humble aspirations, all your own. Fatigue weighs on your lids. The exertions of the hours reclaim their toll. Your limbs unwind. Your thoughts ease into calm. Dawn arrives swiftly at 4:30 with its unrelenting chime and ceaseless labor. But that's for later. For now, only this matters. The hush of your sanctuary, the ease of your bedding, the quiet fulfillment of outlasting yet another stretch. You've journeyed far from that timid 15-year-old who stepped into London 2.5 years back, clueless about stoking flames, stumbling through dealings with merchants, quaking at shadows. She's gone. In her place stands someone tougher, more adept, assured. A fighter, a denizen of this city, a woman navigating a harsh realm with grit. The home's noises dim, final creaks from overhead corridors, lingering whispers from remote corners. All hushes, all stills. Only your breath, rhythmic and even, rising and falling. Only the enveloping gloom, gentle and absolute. Only the spent day dissolving into recollection. You're adequately sheltered, nourished, secure. Your duties hold purpose. Others rely on your steadiness. You've staked a foothold in life, however modest, more than countless possess. It's plenty. Allow your gaze to soften shut. Release the strain from your neck, your spine, your palms calloused from the grind. Let it all dissolve. The platters can linger till morning. The flames can hold off. The tireless chores can pause. In this instant, nothing else. Merely repose. Merely the velvety night drawing you under. Eris will unfold. Your London will morph past all familiarity. This very residence will crumble and rise anew. Avenues will resurface. The smog will lift with the outlawing of coal hearths. The Thames will purify. The urban sprawl will evolve, yet the craving for renewal after exhaustive hours that endures unchanging. That sensation of easing into slumber after uttering weariness remains timeless. So welcome it. Allow sleep to envelop you, just as it did Sarah in her cramped chamber with its slim pane overlooking little of note. Allow it to claim you, as it has claimed endless maids, laborers, souls who wrapped up their days too drained for anything beyond yielding to repose. You deserve this. You've toiled diligently. You've endured. Now, simply unwind. Unwind fully. Dawn will arrive before long. The summons will sound. Duties will resume. The routine will press on. But that's for later. That's distant yet. That's not your concern at this moment. For now, only shadows remain, only stillness, only the gradual, inescapable slide toward oblivion. Your breaths grow steadier, fuller. The line dividing alertness from dreams softens and dissolves. Beyond your glass, the metropolis pulses on. London never fully slumbers. Folks are forever toiling, stirring, thriving. The urban heart beats through the night's core, yet you're detached from it all now. You're descending below it, into your solitary void, your personal respite. Permit the final notions to slip away, anxieties over what awaits, echoes of the hours past, schemes and dreads and wishes. Watch them dissipate like mist vanishing under dawn's light. No tasks demand you, no thoughts require tending, no roles to play beyond this essence. A form in stillness, a psyche loosening its hold on awareness, merely inhaling, merely persisting, merely present. And soon, even that recedes. The sense of inhalation, the sense of persistence, all eases and hazes into void. Sleep draws you under, wholly and soundly, without visions, as it has drawn uncounted masses before you, as it shall draw uncounted more in the endless yielding to tranquility. Good night, Sarah Miller, chambermaid in a Belgravia townhouse. Lass from Yorkshire, conqueror of the capital. Good night to all who've labored to the brink of collapse, all who've tumbled into slumber, too spent for reveries. Good night to bygone eras, to 1888, 1889, 1890, 1891, to Victorian London, shrouded in haze and peril and ceaseless toil. Good night to all who hear this. In your private quarters, in your separate epochs divided by ages, yet linked by this, the craving for respite, the boon of drowsiness. Welcome it. Let it seize you. Let all dissolve into serene, hushed gloom. You merit it, precisely as Sarah merited it. Unwind now. Simply unwind. Good night.